If you're a US citizen thinking about moving abroad right now, you're not alone. I'm Kristin, the author of Moving Abroad for Dummies, and I've been helping people move abroad for the last 20 years. So let's jump right in and count down the top 10 places that real people are moving to. Kicking off this list is the majority of people that I talk to, and these are people who are undecided on where they want to move. And I know this isn't technically a place, but I really wanted to share this with you because everyone that I talk to is almost embarrassed that they haven't picked a country to move to yet by the time they talk to me, and they feel like they're all alone. You're the only ones who struggle with making this decision. So I want you to know that you're not alone, and probably 80-90% of the people I talk to are undecided in at least some way about where they want to move abroad. Now, typically you might have one or two regions in mind. For example, maybe you're looking at a lot of different countries in Europe, or maybe you're looking at a few countries in Latin America. But we also see people that are torn between different continents. We have someone right now who's interested in moving to Portugal, but also her heart is kind of pulling her towards Thailand, Malaysia, over in Southeast Asia. So my job and with my team is to help you choose the right destination for you that makes sense on paper, but also feels good in your heart. So if that's you, if you've been researching 100 countries and you feel like you're back at square one, don't worry, you're not alone. And chances are that you're interested in moving to one of the next 9 countries on this list. 9th on our list is the UK, and despite the often gray weather and high costs compared to many other European countries, a lot of Americans are drawn here. I think first and foremost, this is because of the familiarity and ties between the US and the UK. Of course, the United States has a long history with the British, and so I think a lot of US citizens have family members and extended relatives that are from this part of the world. I know myself from doing a DNA test, I'm at least 25% Scottish and Irish. So we get a lot of people that want to kind of follow their ancestry to the UK, and also because they feel a sense of familiarity with people who speak the same language, that are culturally pretty similarly aligned. And so we get a lot of requests for moving to the UK, including Scotland. The issue with moving to the UK for US citizens who are voluntarily leaving the United States is that you're limited here on your residency options. Now, with a US passport, you can stay up to 180 days per calendar year in the UK as a tourist. You want to go around, travel around, and just experience the country temporarily and kind of like an exploratory trip and see if you might want to move there in the future. But when it comes to moving there directly, the UK is one of the more stricter countries when it comes to letting in migrants from other places. So they don't offer a digital nomad visa. They don't offer a retirement visa. They've pretty much canceled all of their investor visa options except for a really specific innovator visa that you can apply for if you qualify. The main options for going there are with a work permit or a study permit. So that won't necessarily work for you if you're retired, but maybe if you want to go back to school and genuinely learn something, then that could be an option. A work permit as well, if you don't want to work anymore, then it's not going to be a good option for you, or if you work remotely and you don't want to have an in-person job. But if you do manage to get a job offer from a UK company, then that is a valid way to get there. But job searches can take some time, so make sure you plan for that. In 8th place, we have Italy, a country that never goes out of style, but also never fails with its frustrating bureaucracy. Italy is one place that expats actually don't like living, according to the Expat Insider Index, but it's still a romantic place to think about moving. There's a lot of reasons that people tell me why they want to move to Italy, and maybe you can relate to some of them. I mean, I get it. I've been there a few times, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I think the whole lifestyle of Italy is what makes it so appealing, especially for people who want to move there to retire, want to work remotely. It can be a really tough place to live if you're going to get a work visa because the salaries can be lower than you're used to. And also a lot of foreign workers based in Italy do complain about the bureaucracy. But if you're just going to, enjoy La Dolce Vita and live in Tuscany, sipping wine and sitting at cafes, people watching, then it's a good place to go. I think also if you like the coastal areas, you've got such beautiful places to choose from, places like Positano, Sicily as well. So there's a lot of diversity in places to live in Italy, especially when you're comparing the north to the south, the central part of Italy to the coastline. No matter where you live, you're not too far away from other places. So if you want to be up in the northern area, maybe in a mid-sized town like Verona, maybe a city like Bologna, and you want to be kind of closer to the mountains, you can do that. You can actually live in the mountains. You can live in the Dolomites area. You can be in the center of all the action in the cosmopolitan city of Rome, or you can live kind of like a more Mediterranean beachy lifestyle in the south of Italy. And Italy also offers quite a few different visa options if you want to move there. Because of the bureaucracy, they do have some of the more strict requirements when it comes to qualifying for these options, but you have a retirement visa in the form of the elective residence visa with pretty moderate income requirements. The key with this one is that it's really for moving to Italy permanently. So if you're just thinking about trying it out and you're not committed to living in Italy long term, then this specific retiree permit is not the best one for you. You might want to look at some other countries that have more flexible options. But if you're thinking of just retiring there permanently, living your golden years in Italy, and then from there traveling to some other European countries, then that could be a good one for you. They also offer a digital nomad visa, also a freelancer visa. The freelancer visa is limited, so it can be competitive to get. And the digital nomad visa, you really have to show a lot of proof of work history to be able to get that one. They also have a study permit if you're serious about learning Italian and you've already taken some Italian classes. If you want to get a head start on that, you can check out my link to Rosetta Stone below this video. Not sponsored, but love that. You can do it on the go, on your phone, at your computer at home, and get a head start on that language before you actually get there, because with the Italian study permit, you will need to show that you've learned some Italian when you go in for your consular appointment. Now, if you want to go to a different type of school, not to learn Italian, if you already speak it and you want to study something else, probably still need to know quite a bit of Italian anyway, so it can't hurt. Either way, there's also an investor visa in Italy, which is one of the few European countries that still has an investor visa. So if you want to shell out 250,000 euro, €1 million, depending on the investment that you go for in government bonds, Italian company, and a startup, there's a few different options there. That one's more flexible. It can also be processed a bit faster. So Italy is a big one for the lifestyle, for the food and wine. They need more people as well. They want foreigners to come in. They want to boost the population in certain places. That's why there's some areas that have incentives for people to buy properties and renovate them. So if that's what you see in your future, then you're not alone, because Italy is the 8th most popular place for my clients to go. The 7th most requested place from my relocation clients is Mexico. This is a great place for you if you want to be a short flight from the US, so you can go back and forth to visit friends or family, or perhaps even for medical care. Moving to Mexico is a very optimal choice if you want to be close to the US, lower your cost of living, and still be within striking distance to go back and visit without feeling like you're inundated with all of the craziness that happens in the US every day. So it's like you're right there looking from the outside in. And although Canada gets a lot of press about being the #1 place that Americans want to move, especially for political reasons, it's actually one of the least requested destinations on my list. So realistically, many more people actually move to Mexico than the people who say, oh, I'm moving to Canada if so-and-so wins the election. People still do that, but much fewer a number of people compared to what you see in the Google searches online, with like searches to Canada spiking 1,000,000%. At the end of the day, more people are moving to Mexico because more flexible residency options there. You've got a much lower cost of living, and also the weather's better as well. So our clients are going with either the temporary residence permit or the permanent residence permit into Mexico, and they're living in a lot of different areas. I think Puerto Vallarta area has been really popular this year. Oaxaca has been really popular. San Miguel de Allende, Lake Chapala area. Back in 10, 12 years ago, it was a lot more popular among my clients to go go places on the beach, places like Playa del Carmen, Cabo San Lucas, Rosarito, where you can just go back and forth into San Diego whenever you want. But these days, people want to, I think, experience a more authentic type of lifestyle and be maybe not in the most touristy areas like Cancun, for example. But we can help you move anywhere in Mexico and, get a little more adventurous off the beaten path. I think a lot of people are drawn to Mexico for the location close to the US and also for the lower cost of living, especially if you're on a pension of around $1,000 to $2,000 per month and your money's not going to go very far these days in the United States, then Mexico is a great option and also a place where you can really find an international community in addition to speaking with the local people. So again, I'll link to Rosetta Stone below if you need to work on your Spanish, because there's definitely a lot of areas there where English is not spoken. In sixth place, we have my old stomping ground, Costa Rica. And like Mexico, it's just a 3 to 5 hour flight to many US destinations. It has perfect weather and also a lot of diversity in places to live, where you want to be at the beach or in the mountains of the Central Valley. And it has a very laid back, slow paced lifestyle. That's right, I'm talking about the Pura Vida lifestyle. Ever since I've been in my 20s and old enough to know about retirement destinations for US retirees, Costa Rica has always been up there. It's not the highest, most popular place compared to other places that I'm personally helping people move to right now, but it is a place that's always at the top of the list because you've got pretty advanced healthcare, you've got really good weather, you've got the close distance to the United States, and it does have that slow-paced lifestyle that a lot of people are looking for after working so hard for so many decades in their careers. So they also offer a digital nomad visa there now in Costa Rica. And actually, I would say it's one of the best countries in the world to move to when it comes to different options, like visa options, because they're really embracing bringing in people from different countries. They're flexible with people coming from Nicaragua, Venezuela, all over Latin America, and also for US and other international investors and retirees. You've got the Pensionado visa, you've got the Inversionista visa, you have, you can invest in real estate there and get residency, and you've also got the pretty new digital nomad visa. Costa Rica was one of the first countries to offer a digital nomad visa, and that's a really flexible one there. They also have a really generous passport tourist visa that used to be 90 days. Now you can come in and out after 180 days of staying there. Their economy is very tourism dependent, and they've also offered a lot of different long-term residency options for people who want to move there. They also offer a lot of different perks of being able to, bring in some home goods or a car if you're going to be moving there. So you've got a lot going for you if you want to go to Costa Rica. And then you also have a real diversity in the places that you can live. You can get that quintessential, stunningly beautiful tropical beach lifestyle where you wake up to the sounds of howler monkeys in the trees and you walk outside and there's flowers and hummingbirds, and it's just it seems fake sometimes, but it's a real place. It's very tropical. You've got 32 different microclimates all around the country, so you can choose to live in the more temperate places in the Central Valley, and then from there you can drive or fly to a lot of different parts of the country if you want to go to the beach, or you can do the opposite. You can choose to live in one of the more rural areas or one of the more developed areas on the beach where you've got to contend a bit more with the elements as far as the heat, the dust, the humidity. Make sure to get a dehumidifier if you're going to be living pretty much anywhere in Costa Rica, and then commute into San Jose or Liberia or some of the bigger towns to be able to go shopping or, go to events, go to the movies, certain things that you can't do in Corcovado National Park, for example. The cost of living is one sticking point for living in Costa Rica, but I have interviewed a lot of people who moved there and they're able to keep their costs below $2,000 per month. For me, it was around $2,500 to $3,000 a month with a car, and there's really no limit on how much you can spend in Costa Rica. If you want to have a really nice and luxurious lifestyle, you can spend a lot of money there, but you can also save money there if you're frugal and you shop at the markets. I have a lot of videos about living there since I live there as well, so I will link to those below. In fifth place, we have somewhere that might surprise you. Over in Europe, the Netherlands is trending this year more than ever before, especially for US citizens. And the main reason for this is because the Netherlands is quite a safe country with a very large international English-speaking population. There's also a path to live there permanently with visas such as the Dutch-American Friendship Treaty or DAFT visa. The Netherlands is a place that really was not popular among my relocation clients before the 2024 elections. And then we had a big surge in people wanting to go there. It's a country with a very strong social safety net. So it attracts people who maybe voted on the other side of the aisle during 2024 elections, but they see reflected in the lifestyle and society of the Netherlands, a place that upholds a lot of the values that they have living in the US and that maybe aren't as pronounced or developed in the US culture and society right now. Things like universal health care, for example, but also higher taxes. The Netherlands is one of the higher taxed countries in Europe, although Europe in general, being more of a socialist area, does have higher taxes, but also you get a lot more for those taxes. So we've seen people want to move to the Netherlands for the stability, the safety, the developed nature of the country and society. It's a place where typically the trains are running on time. You've got a lot of different transportation options. You can bike anywhere in the country. You can take the tram. You've got Ubers, buses. I mean, you've kind of got everything. So it makes it a really convenient place to live. And although the housing market can be really competitive and quite expensive, once you have a place to live, your actual costs of living can be quite low when it comes to food, especially if you're shopping at markets. I know a lot of people like to go to the market towards the end of the day where they can get a lot of deals with like bags of produce or a watermelon or something for only €1. So things that we would pay 5 times more in the United States. And I know a lot of my Dutch friends keep a pretty moderate cost of living of around €2,000 a month or less in some cases, up to maybe $2,000 to $3,000 a month. But as a US citizen moving to the Netherlands, you want to definitely have some money saved in the bank because you're going to need that proof of finances to be able to rent a property. Landlords are going to go for the safest bets. So if you've got a lot of money in the bank and you can show that you're going to be living there long term and you're not just going to leave after a few months or you won't be able to pay your rent, the laws are very leaning towards the tenants in the Netherlands. So landlords can be really cautious. So you want to make sure that you're going there with a plan, with a business plan. If you're going to be applying for the DAFT, have a good financial situation so that you can compete in the housing market. But once you do get a place to live there and you get really acclimated to the lifestyle, I don't find the cost of living to be much higher than other countries in Europe. The downside to moving here is that they don't offer a retirement visa there. So for US citizens, you've got work permit, study permit, or the DAFT visa. So if you're not planning to start a business there or work there or study, then it's not the best place to go, but you can always go to another country in Europe and then travel to the Netherlands if you'd like. Another downside, of course, is the weather. As much as I love the Netherlands, I never fully adapt to the rainy and cold and windy weather and the darkness as well in the winter. So if that's going to be an issue for you, then maybe you want to go somewhere like Spain, south of France, somewhere that's a little bit sunnier and warmer. There are strong paths to being able to study and work in the Netherlands, and many Dutch companies also hire international employees. Another country known for its rainy and cloudy weather is Ireland. Ireland is a big hotspot for people who are looking for an English-speaking country. So a lot of people who are interested in the UK are also interested in going to Ireland. And also in the last couple years, my Irish friends have said it's been a lot less rainy and cold and gray than the past. So I don't know if that's related to climate change, but maybe the weather's getting a little bit warmer than it was before, not as cold and gray and dreary. And you've got really beautiful green landscapes, nice countrysides, well-developed cities and infrastructure that make Ireland a really attractive place to live. Now, the options to be able to live in Ireland are limited. They don't have a digital nomad visa, but they do have a retirement visa in the form of the Stamp 0 permit. That is a path to permanent residency. Historically, it hasn't been a really clear path to citizenship, but I have heard from some lawyers in Ireland that they have been able to help their clients get citizenship on that path. So we do have a lot of people that are actively interested in moving there with the stamp 0, and also people who are looking to work for Irish companies. So like the Netherlands, Ireland's economy is quite international. It's a lot of English-speaking people. Most people speak English in Ireland, and they are open to hiring international workers. But on the flip side, that openness to the international market has put a lot of upward pressure on housing prices, leading to a really similar housing crunch as in Netherlands. So, they really need newer construction, and there's more demand than there is housing available. So that's created a tricky scenario of locals needing housing as much as foreigners that are coming into work. But it's also helped the Irish economy grow a lot in the past few decades. So pros and cons, people, pros and cons. This housing crisis leads to the cost of living in Ireland being a lot higher when it comes to rent, which is typically, a big portion of your income goes to paying rent. So if you're flexible and you don't need to be in Dublin, then maybe you want to look at some of the smaller towns and villages around Ireland. Definitely a much more popular place for my clients in the last couple years. Although once people realize the limits to the residency options there, then sometimes they end up choosing another country, especially remote workers, since you aren't really supposed to be working on that stamp 0. If you're looking for somewhere with a slightly lower cost of living, well, 15% of our clients choose to move to Portugal, which is especially popular with retirees, digital nomads, and people with passive income. Portugal is kind of like the Costa Rica of Europe in the way that they have really made a specific effort to bring in international residents. They used to have a real estate golden visa. They still have different golden visa options there to buy residency through investment. They also have a D7 passive income visa that works really well for retirees who have at least around the equivalent of about $1,000 a month in passive income. They also have the D8 visa for digital nomads. They were one of the first countries to have a digital nomad visa. So there's a lot of different paths for people to be able to live in Portugal. I think that's one of the main reasons why it's been so popular. It's one of the few European countries that has so many options for people of different ages and different types of jobs and different walks of life. Of course, you've also got the really nice weather there. It's very sunny there, beautiful climate, very mild climate compared to other parts of Europe. And you've got the beaches, you've got the coastline, you've got the mountains, you've got just a really beautiful surroundings and a big international community. So it's a place where if you want to learn Portuguese, then the locals are really friendly and welcoming. If you also want to be able to run your business from there, go to meetups, go to tech conferences, you can meet a lot of people from different countries around the world, which is great for inspiration, creativity, business connections. You've got city life, you've got the beaches of the Algarve, you've got kind of the quieter pace of life up in the north. And my parents just got back from 2 weeks in Portugal. They really liked it. They went all over the place. I think we can show the map. My dad just sent me yesterday the list of all of the places that he went to in Portugal, and he said he hasn't seen this specific itinerary anywhere online. So he thinks they're the only ones that have done this specific route if you want to copy them. They went places like Coimbra, Aveiro, all over. I think they even went into Spain, actually. On the downside, like Ireland, Portugal also suffers from a housing crisis. The government is taking a lot of steps to be able to remedy that situation, but it's still not as affordable as it was, like, let's say 10 years ago. But then again, which places are as affordable as they were 10 years ago? I don't know. That being said, the trade-off for the price of, housing with the benefits of living in Portugal, a lot of people still choose to live there. Just make sure to plan ahead if you're going to be moving there, because the waiting times can be pretty long to be able to get an appointment with a consulate in the US. Also can be a bit long to approve those visas. So you definitely want to make sure you have all your paperwork in order, and we can certainly help you with that by inquiring through my website. In second place, we have France. And I mean, what can I say? There's a lot to love about France, from the beaches of Biarritz to the fields of Provence to Paris's cosmopolitan vibe. I think, like Italy, what really attracts people, Americans especially, to France is that beautiful life, this quality of life that is so important to the French people, culture, society. It's certainly a place where you get the impression that it's more of a work to live rather than live to work culture, which can be a refreshing opposite from the US rat race. And I think that US citizens really, if you've ever been to France on vacation, you really can see that in the society. I'm not saying it's perfect. France has plenty of problems, but for people that just want to live a nice lifestyle, that want to enjoy really good food, good wine, more relaxed pace, I mean, France really stands out as a great destination. It's also very centrally located, where any day you can take the train anywhere in France. You can go over to England, you can go to neighboring countries. You've got really affordable flights around Europe, and it's a place that you can spend a lifetime exploring, just France. And you've got a lot of different options of places to live, from the beaches, the Mediterranean, the center of France. You've got the mountains and the Alps over there. Or you can, choose a city like Toulouse, Lyon, and have like a more convenient type of lifestyle, and then be able to travel to more rural areas whenever you'd like. I have a lot of really happy clients living in France. I've been there quite a few times myself. I definitely see myself living there in the future, definitely retiring there. And I'm not alone, because France is number 2 on our list today. And fortunately, France also offers a long stay visa that is pretty flexible, whether you're retired or have passive income or you're working remotely, as long as you're not serving French citizens through your business and your clients are abroad. That can work for people, and that can give you access to the local healthcare system. That can be a path to permanent residency there. So it's also, despite the bureaucracy of France, it's also one of the faster visas to process compared to some other countries. So it's been a big winner for my clients, and it's hard to not enjoy living in France. So I think you can't really go wrong there. The healthcare is also among the best in the world, so people really love that. I think the hardest part about moving to France is deciding where to live. So we've done a lot of research for our clients and figuring out all sorts of things, from which breeds of dogs they can bring into schools that their kids can go to, getting approval for homeschooling in some cases, and even down to the wind speeds and the topography, the elevation in certain areas, because the weather can change so drastically around all the different areas of France. But I do have a video on the best places to live in France that I will link to below. On the downsides, no country is perfect, and France is no exception. So the taxes are definitely a consideration for people moving to France, although there are tax treaties and credits that you can get between the US and France. The inheritance tax is also a sticking point. France has very specific inheritance rules, and that can affect you if you live your whole life in the US and then retire in France. Those can definitely have an impact as well. And the culture, I think there's two sides to the story. A lot of people say that it can be hard to adapt to the French culture and really integrate with the community there. And other people say that that's blown out of proportion and they've had an amazing experience and they've been very welcomed there. It's definitely a country where learning the French language can really help you. So definitely keep that in mind if you're going to be going there, or if you have kids and, putting them into French schools versus international schools where you can get classes in English. I think it's definitely one of those countries, as opposed to somewhere like the Netherlands where it's really difficult to learn Dutch and you can get by with English. I think in France, if you're going to be living there long term, especially if you want to be getting citizenship there after 10 years, then it's really critical to learn the language. And numero uno, my friends, is Spain. Spain is the number one choice for my US relocation clients this year due to a variety of reasons. I think it really has the whole package. It offers a retiree visa in the form of the non-lucrative visa. It also has a digital nomad visa. So you've got a couple of different options for ways to live in Spain long term. Also a path to citizenship. You have amazing weather in some cases too hot. We've been getting some complaints of Spain being too hot, especially in Madrid and kind of the more interior parts of Spain. But like France, you have a lot of variety in places to live. Some of the most popular places are places like Malaga, on the Costa del Sol, Seville, Valencia, Madrid, also up in the northern part of Spain, San Sebastian area, A Coruña. People really like Spain. You've got great food. You've got really easy transportation. You can go skiing in the winter. You can go to the beach in the summer. You've got the islands, the Balearic Islands, and you're also close to other countries in Europe with a lot of really low-cost budget flights. I think one thing that's been holding my clients back this year has been the perception of foreigners in Spain. There's been a lot of protests, anti-tourism protests in Spain, and so they really don't want to be part of the problem when it comes to the gentrification of certain areas, higher housing prices. And my opinion on this is a bit, I explain more in another video that I have on Are Americans Ruining Portugal, and my perception is a little bit different than maybe you would find in the news media. Really, a lot of the tourism protests shouldn't necessarily be directed at US citizens that are moving to Spain, but it's more towards tourism in general, of which European countries citizens are the top tourism arrivals to these countries. So the top tourists to Spain are from the UK and France and Germany, as well as to Portugal. You've got a lot of European tourists coming into Portugal, raising the prices. So that's really contributing. Regardless, some of my clients who have gone to Spain on exploratory trips have told me that they didn't necessarily feel very welcomed in places like Seville, Valencia, that are really popular places to go, Malaga as well. But Spain is a big country. You have a lot of areas to explore, and I do have a lot of really happy clients living there, some of whom I'm going to be visiting for upcoming videos on the channel, so make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss those. If you'd like help moving to any of the countries on this list or not on this list, you can reach out to my team and I at travelingwithkristin.com/relocation and watch these videos next for some of the best places to live in top countries on this list, including Spain and Portugal.